Welcome to this special webinar in which we say thank you and farewell to Henry Rutjes. I am Sabine van Maurik and I've been involved with the FSS products unit for many years, over 10 years, in various roles, including quite a few years as the business unit manager. Today I'm still working at Kiwa as a manager business development for the division products and installations, and of which the unit FSS products is also part. And therefore I'm still involved with the new developments, also with interacting the fire safety and security market. Today we are here and I'm hosting this event. For the people who know me, they know that I don't really like to be in front of the camera. But I felt a little bit obligated to take on this task because Henry was the guy who hired me over 10 years ago. And it opened many doors and great opportunities for me, for which I'm still very grateful. And also from the beginning, we had a really strong connection and we built a really strong relationship over the years, which I really appreciate. And as a token of my appreciation, I am hosting this event. Before we get started, I have two practical matters. The first one is that the chat is opened. If you want to say anything to Henry or want to ask him anything, please drop it in the chat and he will respond after the webinar to it. Or if you have a question related to one of the topics we will discuss today, also put it in the chat and we will respond afterwards. And the second one is that in a few days' time there will be a newsletter in which all the topics will be more explained in detail because we don't have the time to go in depth today. And then Henry is over here. He doesn't need any introduction. He's the man of the moment, the man of the show. Henry, how do you feel today and what do you think about this webinar, especially organized for you?
First of all, Sabine, I really thank you for this opportunity that I get really the chance to say goodbye to all my customers. It's really nice thing to be here today. I think it's really good. And I was really surprised that you came up with this thing. So I didn't expect it at all. So really good.
We have, of course, a little bit of a challenge because we are operating in an international market. And we cannot invite all the customers over here and to say a personal message. So, we thought we cannot leave it, let you go just like that. So that was the idea behind this. And also, to ensure the customers that it will be business as usual and that we continue your good work. And it's just a webinar about you, and I have a lot of questions to ask you as well. And maybe we can start in the beginning. And how is it that you start your sales career?
Oh, that's a long story, but I saw from the minutes, it's only 5 minutes that I can talk about. So, actually, when I was young, I grew up and we had quite a garden. And in the garden, we had rabbits. And I sold the rabbits, and that was my first sales experience. So that's why I became a sales guy. And then later it came from rabbits to motorbikes and everything. And my father was working in a workshop and they made antennas for television reception and sold those because he could build them very cheap and I could make a good profit on it. And then later my first really sales career was at the Roden Swatch company. I was taught by KPN to do RF testing. So I've been in test business all my career. I did the testing myself first at the Dutch PTT, and then I was hired by Roden Swatch selling RF test equipment for European customers, mainly in Southern Europe. And then afterwards, I came across a company called Televication, and they were setting up their EMC facilities. And I sold the full set of blown equipment over there. And then I found out that they didn't have anyone to get those chambers filled with customers. And then I applied for the job because actually traveling at Road and Swartz was getting more severe due to traffic jams and so on. And then I looked for a better place to be and found television, and that is now roughly 30 years ago. And then, I think it's now 12, 13 years. Then we were acquired by Kiwa. And I think that was a good thing as well, due to the fact that we got more facilities. If you look at the current facilities we have here in this building, it's amazing what we have grown together in the last, let's say, 10 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that is in short how I got to Kiwa in let's say 30 years ago. Yeah.
And you started at television, and you mentioned there were the EMC facilities, but at one point we started to offer security testing and certification services. How did it come up? Actually, television started in that time with telecoms testing. That's why the name television was there. And we had a customer from Cooper Security, never forget his name, it's Piet Voorneveld. He passed away a few years ago. And that guy had problems with having certified his dialers for security, especially for the Belgian market. And then he asked me, he pleased me actually, can't you find a way to get our products also approved for the Belgian market? And I tried and searched, and then we came across that it is AMPI in Belgium who is responsible for that. But it was a tough situation at that time, because they had only these national requirements. And first, we need to be accredited for that. Then you need to be appointed by, at that time, SEBEC. No, it wasn't SEBEC, was it? It was... at least AMPI was involved, but it took me about 3 years before we were appointed for that. But then after that, we got the first orders also from Cooper Security in, and from that on, we grown rapidly. And at that time, actually, there were no EN requirements for security. There were a few TSs, and due to the fact that we were new in the business, I became member of the Dutch National Normalization Committee, and they said, there is some working group somewhere in Europe, but I don't think it's something for you because it's nearly dead. But then I still applied, and that is the reason why we learned so much, due to the fact that we also were becoming part of this EN Normalization Committee. Yeah. And it still brings us a lot of good things, and we will keep up with the current standards. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So back then, the market was not really regulated, and if you look at that time and where we stand now, can you give an update on what happened in this period?
We have standards for almost every product. In the field, from glass break detector to shock sensor to camera to whatever you in the security there are standards for. But still, unfortunately, there is national requirements in various countries, like Sweden, like Belgium, like Germany. They still have their national requirements, and it is really hard for the manufacturers to see and how to deal with that. So that is something. Hopefully, in the future, will change. Yeah. For the good for the manufacturers. Yeah.
And how is our current portfolio? How can we help manufacturers at the moment?
We can do testing for quite some countries. For the countries I just mentioned, for Sweden, for Belgium, of course for the main European countries, and then on top of that, they have to do some additional testing at local labs. Mm-hmm. There is no other way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that's have been quite a bit of a journey so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fire safety. Let's talk about fire safety a little bit, because we were quite early when it came to helping customers testing and certify their faces and other control and indicating equipment, but we were quite late in the market where it comes to testing and certification of the fire detectors. Yes, of course, it requires a lot of investment for in time and money for the fire chamber and the smoke tunnel, and also to get all the right accreditation. And still we stepped into a market where there were quite a few established TIC companies already operating. So why did we get into this anyway?
The thing is that, from my perspective, it looks that the fire market is much bigger than the security market. And it has to do with life safety. So, life safety is one of the key things, I think, for people to feel themselves safe in their own homes, but also where you are in a restaurant or in a hotel. So, and that's important. And the thing we stepped in that late was actually, at the time we were television, we didn't have the money. That was the reason why we didn't step in earlier. Because I notified it already long time ago that we should do this, because to my opinion, this market is, what I already said, is huge. And but investing in such a expensive tool like the smoke chamber and the smoke tunnel is quite a thing. And but we succeeded in doing this with support of Kiwa, and now it seems that we are very good getting more customers in, because we have very short lead times. We can do testing within, let's say, starting within a few weeks from order, and get things ready, let's say, in 2 to 3 months, and which is very good in this market. Yeah.
Where do we stand today? If you look as a whole, the fire safety and security products unit and the team and the services we have currently, where do we stand?
We do a good job, but we can do things better. Always you can do things better.
I agree. Yeah, fully.
And we can grow. There is still potential to grow in this market due to the fact that we still have space in our labs. We can hire more engineers, but the equipment is there. And I think this is a good opportunity also to tell to the customers, okay, come to us and ask the new guys for a quote to see how we can do this and how fast we can react. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, for you, this venture will end after today, but of course, the team and the customers and venture continues, and we do this with Albertine and Carlo. So welcome today. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Can you introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I thought I'll kick off. I'm Albertine Ibrahim, and I've been working with Kiwa for over 25 years now. And all that time, I think I've worked together with Henry. So, first in television, I was still doing type approvals for the radio department. And after that, I did liaison between test house and certification to ensure that the processes for the clients were smoothly, it followed up smoothly. And in that way, I started to get to know the customers better. And so after television was bought by Kiwa, and I started to do sales, then it felt like a natural follow-up, and I think it has worked well. But I've worked so long with Henry, and I've come to appreciate him very much as a person and as a salesperson. He has taught me, of course, quite a few things. And we look forward to follow on that road, what he has built up and what we have developed together in the past years. And I do that together with Carlo from now on.
So thank you for the introduction. My name is Carlo Molenaar. I know Henry also a few years, but since a half year I joined the fire safety and security team. What can I say about myself? I specialized in account management because I excel at valuable and lasting relationships with you as customers. I guess the next question will be, how do I do that?
Yeah, what can customer expect from me? Yeah, how do you do it?
I take a proactive approach by listening to the customers, the clients' needs, and helping them to achieve the goal of the customers. And I will do it on a open, honest, and respectful communication. Do you say it well?
Yep.
So, and we luckily we have a fantastic Eversnest team. You build it both. That's a great team. We have highly qualified test engineers. We have good project managers. We have a passionate team leader, Jan-Willem Vervoert, and of course my commercial rock at this moment, Albertine, and it's a pleasure working with you. So we hope to continue the work of Henry. Put some notes. Yeah?
Yes, so what can customers expect from you? How would the approach be, for example?
Yeah, so my approach is will be open, honest, and respectful. I'm a good listener. So, and I want to grow our department, but also help the clients to get the product ASAP on the market.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the sales process, maybe people can always ask us for information first, and we create the quotation together to make sure that this is what you need to access the market with your product. And of course, we communicate with our team to make sure that everything is prepared for the certification that follows. And it has many steps that are sometimes, sometimes the customer doesn't really realize how many things are being done before the certification can be issued. And it's our task, I think, to make sure that everything is clear. And even when the project is started and the project managers start the project, then we are still there to follow up when anything blocks, or if there's any issue to solve, then they can always ask us, and we step in. Yeah.
Yes. And how do customers know who to contact?
It doesn't matter. We are both available. And in addition to what you already said, Sabine, in the beginning, the whole information of this seminar will be put on or gathered in an email. And beyond that, I will ask the customers to invite me, because I'm very curious about the company of the products we are testing. So I'm hoping for a warm welcome. And and in that newsletter we also will be introduce ourselves a bit. So yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
And also check LinkedIn and.
Yes. So Henry, do you have any advice for Albertine and Carlo?
Keep up the good work and go out to visit the customers, because being at the customer, you always hear what's going on and hear their needs. So that is the only advice I can give. Go to the customers. Yeah.
Yeah, we will do.
Clearly.
And do you have any last words for Henry?
Just words of appreciation for the really nice time we had together.
Thanks.
And I think we were a strong team, and I will do my best to be the same strong team with Carlo. So,
I agree. Henry, you did an amazing job here at Kiwa, and you may be proud what you left, and we will carry on what you have built. So thanks.
okay. Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you, Albertine and Carlo, for joining.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, something that is literally going on at the moment in this building as we speak is the meeting of the working groups, Senelec TC79 Working Group 2 for detection devices and Working Group 3 for control and indicating equipment and power supply for intruder alarm systems, of which you, Henry, are also a participant for many years and where Albertine will succeed you. So this was your last meeting.
Correct.
And today we have Marcus here in this webinar, and he is the convener of Working Group 2. Welcome, Marcus. Before we start, can you introduce yourselves?
So, hi guys there out in the outer world, and to the Working Group 2 members, which are sitting actually upstairs in the other room.
Yes.
And hopefully you're going to be watching this kind of webinar, which is about Henry mainly. And I'm actually running my own kind of security company over there in Germany. However, 2006, I think had been the year when we actually met first. At Telefication in Zevenaar. It was actually my first Working Group 2 meeting at that time. And maybe you told me yesterday after, I don't know, 5, 8 or 7 beers, I don't know exactly, that the Working Group 2 meeting at that time was the first time which actually took place in Telefication.
Correct.
Yeah, and it was a very interesting kind of meeting for me at that time. You're doing this kind of work over 20 years in this kind of standardization.
Yeah.
And actually was a convener at that time called Ian Pascoe, and he actually was just developing some kind of standard for glass break detectors. And he was very much into rifles, and so he was thinking that a good performance test for test glass break testers is going to shoot at glasses. That was very, very funny at that
really
time,
fun.
and for me it was my first meeting, and it was a long journey over this kind of past years.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful to run into you and actually to get your support during all the years. And then over the years, we actually had been some kind of changes in the convenership. And I think maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I actually became Working Group 2 convener.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, last year I had been appointed to be the chairman of the technical committee 79, which is doing all this kind of standardization for the Working Group 3, which took place yesterday and the day before, and today yesterday we have had the Working Group 2 meeting. The Working Group 2 actually is defining and writing the standard for right now for shock detectors. That's something we are working currently actually on for vision, for different type of glass break detectors, acoustic, active glass break detectors, and so on, magnetic contacts, movement detectors, different type of movement detectors, and all those sort of things on which are important that a detection will take place. And Henry contributed a lot with his experience and his feedback from the tests which had been taking place at Telefication and at Kiwa, and that actually helped us in the standardization area to refine and to optimize the kind of standards. Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you feel about your role in this standardization? How do you approach these working group meetings?
Especially in the beginning, it was for us it was learning, because at that time we were completely new in the security, of course, and we didn't know anything about this. So we learned a lot from this contributing on those member committees. So and therefore I think it was very good for us to be there, and now also to keep up with the new requirements, especially now for the new shock sensor. A complete new setup will be needed. So it is always good as a laboratory to participate in this kind of working groups, to keep up with the new things and to see if it is possible to test this kind of new ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe also to give a good insight in what the impact would be on the testing facilities,
Yeah,
because
correct.
it's always involving investments, and somehow we need to earn this back. So it also could have an effect on the pricing for the manufacturers.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the interpretation of the written words.
Yeah.
which sometimes even in the standardization group is some kind of debate how to what is actually meant, what had been written over there, and sometimes that's what revisions are actually for, or amendments actually for. Sometimes we actually spot that things are not clear enough to help the manufacturer to design products in the right way, and to help the test houses to set up some kind of proper kind of testing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've been working on some items the last few days. Can you maybe give us a little bit of an update of what you have been doing?
As I just mentioned already, we right now in finalizing the revision of the shock detector kind of standards at Working Group 2. Then another kind of thing we are actually working on, not half officially, is we are trying to design some kind of generic standard for detectors. Right now, all these standards for detectors are around a very specific physical detection principle, which is then becomes very clear how to do these kind of things and how to define the performance criteria, how to define false alarms kind of criteria, how to overcome the technology by tempering and masking and all these kind of things. And so it's not easy, but it's very clear how to address these kind of areas with the different kind of tests. And now we are actually working to define some kind of generic standard for grade 1 and 2, and that's some sort of challenge, because it's not clear what's going to be the physical detection principle. So all these sort of things I just described are not clear at that time when we are writing this. So it's more that the manufacturers need to describe what they actually want to detect, what's the physical detection principle, and then the test houses maybe have to build on some kind of template of checklist around these kind of things, some kind of specific test. So that's what we're actually doing now to open up the 51C1 series to a certain extent. Yeah. And apart from that, I think there will be somewhere in the next couple of months some kind of another webinar from Euroalarm. We are actually at Working Group 1 doing some kind of revision of the 51C1-1, which is the kind of mother framework where all the other kind of standards actually tied to. Yeah. And so that's something which probably is going to be some kind of really, really dramatic change for the overall series. But that's something for another webinar, because today the webinar is about Henry, it's about standards.
Yes. So can you describe Henry a little bit as a participant?
It was always, if you're sitting in this kind of standardization group, sometimes things are getting very quiet. But Henry was always a good kind of counterpart to wake up the people. He has a good sense of humor, and so it's always fun to work with him, and as well his kind of contribution, his kind of knowledge and input actually helped to move things actually onwards, and he responded quickly to things. Sometimes he's going to go away and say, okay, there need to be some kind of testing if that really can be used, and he was actually one of the guys who actually made these kind of exercise to get us some kind of feedback in the standardization kind of group. So it was a very fruitful and fun work actually, and not talking about the evenings and the beers, which is a very important kind of thing. Socializing is going to help to overcome problems very often.
During during the working group. Yes. Yeah. Okay. If anyone is watching now and think, hey, that's interesting work, how can they participate in standardization work? Do you have a tip?
There are usually some kind of processes behind that. So this is actually part of the ZENELEC. ZENELEC is some kind of standardization organization over there in Europe. And they are actually keen to have more experts actually on board. But those experts, as you described earlier on, need to be nominated through the national committees. At that time, when we still had been some kind of dead working group, what you've mentioned early on is actually you have to go, if someone is interested, to your national kind of committee committee need to figure out who that's going to be. That's in the Netherlands, that's going to be the NEN in Delft. That varies from country to country, and ask, I'm interested in detectors, or I'm interested in control panels, and so on. And then they probably will lead you into some kind of a mirror committee, which is going to be there in the countries, and then you hopefully be appointed by them and then nominated at Sunelec for working in the working groups. But we are always looking for experts, and we are actually, to be honest, you can see that, and that's about the retirement of Henry and won't make gray hair. We are looking actually for younger experts, for younger people to keep that actually going. So please go to your national committees and come on and join the different kind of working groups.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there any specific contribution Henry did that you can refer to, or maybe Henry, is there anything you did in the past where you're proud of, or said that was a good discussion and I'm glad it turned out that way?
Well, I can remember that we did the shock sensor testing with the spring hammer at VDS, where we tried to do this.
Yeah.
And we thought at that time it was a very good test.
Yeah.
But now it turns out that we made a standard which was actually not as good. And that's why we are now actually rewriting this complete standard to make it more possible for the manufacturers to fulfill the requirements and to make it reproducible for the labs.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I remember as a key thing, that we thought we did a good job.
Yeah.
But at that time, it turns out that actually the standard was not as good as we thought. Yeah.
Yes, that's sometimes sometimes we start to think about real life situations, and we think we can actually build this kind of real life situation for testing. But very often that's not a very good idea, because of the repeatability of these kind of tests is very difficult. And then if you go to different test houses, you're getting different results. And even within the test house, maybe on day one you have different results than on day two. And that's something which, that's why it is important as well, if we put the tests together, that we have a chance as well to do some kind of testing to confirm that what we put together is actually something which is achievable and will deliver nearly always the same results. Yeah. Oh, but at least it was fun. I still actually have the videos on my PC when everybody was running around. It was actually having a spring hammer test where every half second there need to be some kind of energy issued to some kind of concrete plate, and actually it needed two persons actually to have two spring hammers, and they actually were alternating to do it every half second actually. But it was fun. It was fun for me seeing you running around with spring hammers.
At the time when we started the testing those shock detectors, I was responsible as a business unit manager for this team, and we were setting up these facilities, but the concrete plate which was described in the standard, it could not be ordered. So it was really difficult to fulfill all the specs that was in the standard.
We were describing the humidity, we were describing the density, and so on, the material, and then
it was a headache. Yeah, that's good to know. So there will be a change in the standard, and I think it will involve the concrete plate.
It will be different.
Okay, so anything you wanted to say to Henry, or anything you wanted to express about the working group for now? Or
I would like to thank all the members of all the experts of the working group 2, and I would like to especially thank Henry for the past, I would say, 18 years of this kind of journey. And maybe that was yesterday evening after the 8th beer. He was saying the working group 2 is the one where you had actually most fun with. It's not about it's about the technology, because it's very interesting, but it's maybe as well about the people. And there had been no kind of offense. No, it was always some kind of good working atmosphere, and was always some kind of fun. And I still can remember one evening we've had in Delft in this kind of mid-age restaurant where they had actually running around live chickens actually on the floor. It was actually fun. I remember these kind of times and days.
Yeah.
Okay.
So today you will continue with the meeting, and I will make sure that Henry will be there after the webinar.
He's excused if he's going to be a bit late.
Okay,
But we
thank
need
you.
to finish some kind of stuff, Henry, today.
Yes, so you know it. Well, thank you, Marcus, for coming and explaining a little bit about the work you've been doing so far.
Okay, thank you.
And have a good
thanks,
meeting.
Marcus. Okay, cheers.
So, Henry, as an avid sailor, you've always navigated us through calm and stormy weathers. And what do you think? Will it be calm or stormy weathers for manufacturers in the years to come?
I think there will be a change for the manufacturers due to the fact that technologies are changing, especially in security with AI. I think this will be a great challenge for the manufacturers to keep up and to be in line with the new requirements, especially for cyber, for instance. That is something most manufacturers do not know exactly what's going on over there, and even I myself I do not know what is going on because I'm not a specialist, but luckily we have other teams in Kiwa who are specialists in that. So, but that I think is a real challenge for the manufacturers and also for us as a test lab to keep up with these new requirements are coming up and new standards are already there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think in the digital field there is a lot of legislation coming up, and we have in a few minutes an item regarding cybersecurity, but we are also looking into the business of AI because the AI is published, of course. But also the Green Deal is coming to us, and it's affecting also something under the close by for the manufacturers we already serve.
Especially for the CPR, there's a new CPR standard just published. I think it was April this year. I just got a white paper donated earlier last week, and it describes that in this new document that the new CPR will be mandatory as of next year already. So that's only 1 year, but in order to keep up for the manufacturers, they need to be environmental friendly producing, and they need to keep up documentation of this as well. And as a certification body, we need to check this, that the manufacturer is doing so. So there's a lot of new things for the manufacturers to guarantee that they are producing according to the new ecoability standards. Mm-hmm. And although those standards are not yet there, they need to be developed. And the development of this standard, there's a period now from they starting right now with writing those new standards for the products up till 2036. So it's a very long time. Mm. But after that, you have to fulfill the new requirements according to the new standards. Yeah,
maybe good to point out is that at Kiwa we already perform these kind of environmental product declaration and life cycle assessment, because it's more or less the same as we do for construction products. In the broad, it's already the construction products regulation, I heard myself say, but and it's really like complete life cycle of a product from getting the resources from the ground to maybe recycling or reuse or the waste it gives. And this also needs to be included in the essential requirements of the CPR, and it needs to be declared by the manufacturer on the declaration of conformity.
Yeah.
So. This is something where we do quite for a long time within Kiwa, but now we can also help the customers from the fire safety products market as well.
And I learned that we have a special unit in Germany, the ecoability experts, who can help our customers together to set up this declaration, because you need to have special wordings and things in this document to fulfill the new requirements. And I think it is good as a manufacturer under the CPR, if you're developing a new product, that you already keep in mind that you have to fulfill those requirements. And it's much easier for the manufacturer if you start from scratch to fulfill those requirements already. If you don't do this from scratch and you have to do this afterwards, making the paperwork, it can be a nightmare.
Yeah, of course, yeah. That would be a good tip, I think. We already mentioned cybersecurity. There's a lot of legislation and regulation coming up for the cybersecurity, like the Cyber Resilience Act, the NIS2. But first up is the Radio Equipment Directive with a deadline on August 1st, 2025. And what this means for you and some guidance on that, on how to stop, is explained in this video, which will be played for you at the moment. And then I'll see you in a few minutes back in the studio.
Hello, my name is Rick Wesselink, responsible for the commercial activities of Kiwa's cybersecurity division. In addition to understanding cybersecurity, it's important to see how regulations play a role in ensuring your devices are secure. One such regulation is the Radio Equipment Directive, or RED, which is European Union legislation aimed at ensuring that all wireless and radio equipment sold in the EU meets essential requirements for safety, health, and efficient use of the radio spectrum. But how does cybersecurity relate to the Radio Equipment Directive? Well, with the rise of wireless and internet-connected devices, like smartphones, Wi-Fi routers, smart home devices, and even wearable tech, cybersecurity risks have become more widespread. Many of these devices, if not properly protected, can become entry points for hackers. They can be exploited to steal data, disrupt communications, or launch cyber attacks. To address these concerns, the Radio Equipment Directive now includes specific cybersecurity requirements to ensure that the radio equipment we use, like Bluetooth devices, IoT, Internet of Things, gadgets, and other wireless products, are designed with strong protections in place. These new requirements are becoming mandatory as from the 1st of August in 2025. So what does this mean for you as a customer? Well, all products that have a direct or indirect connection to the internet should comply with the cybersecurity regulations of RED Article 3.3 to be state of the art. Some key points on the Radio Equipment Directive that relates to cybersecurity. First, enhanced device security. The Radio Equipment Directive makes sure that wireless devices, like smart gadgets and Bluetooth products, etc., are built with strong security to help prevent hacking. Second, protecting of personal data. Devices that send personal information like fitness trackers must protect your data from being accessed by the wrong people. And the first item, interoperability or safe communications between devices. The Radio Equipment Directive ensures that devices can connect and work together securely without putting your data at risk. In short, the Radio Equipment Directive plays a crucial role in promoting cybersecurity by ensuring that wireless devices are safe and secure to use, and by making sure manufacturers comply with the Radio Equipment Directive standards. The EU is helping protect consumers from cybersecurity risks linked to modern connected devices. And this regulation is part of the broader effort to create a safer digital environment in an age where more and more things are connected online. So the next time you use a wireless or smart device, you can have a greater confidence that its design includes essential cybersecurity protections, thanks in part to the Radio Equipment Directive. In order to find your way in these new regulations, we as Kiwa offer guidance service where we can assist you in how to deal with the RED certification. We can help you determine which products are considered internet connected, identify the most critical products in your portfolio. We learn you how to mature your portfolio through testing and the most critical product, also reducing your non-compliance risk. And we determine a test plan based on the outcome of the previous assessments, such as understand legislation, explain what you can do to secure your product, interpretation of standards, and show standards and drafts. Please feel free to contact Kiwa regarding. And then a personal note to Henry, who is retiring. Henry, and I will do this in Dutch. Het was me waar genoegen om met je samen te hebben gewerkt. Je was een topcollega en het was altijd weer fijn om in mijn eigen moedertaal te kunnen praten. Dat is Brabants. Ga je goed, Henry? We houden contact. Houdoe en proost.
Yes, so this was Rick, our colleague, and he had a personal nose in Dutch, but to be honest, it's not even Dutch. It's from the region Henry and Rick both grew up in. It's beneath the rivers in the Netherlands, and we say they're foreigners. So houdoe is not a regular thing to say in the Netherlands, to say goodbye. Rick appointed the cybersecurity legislation, mostly focusing on the Radio Equipment Directive. And I have an addition to this because we see a lot of manufacturers struggling to get in compliance and how they should start the route to compliance. And with the cybersecurity team, we came up with a really short and shift program, we call it, in which we really support you in a few days' time to get a good idea of where you stand in relation to compliance and what there's need to be done. So this information will be included in the email you will receive after this webinar, including the details of Rick, but you can of course also contact Albertino or Carlo on this matter. Rick could not make it today because he is on the World of Technology and Science event in Utrecht. So maybe if you're there, you bump into him and you can ask him right away about the cybersecurity. So, Henry, we have discussed a lot of changes, and what do you think of all these changes, Henry?
Oh, it's a challenge for the manufacturers and also for us as a Kiwa lab to keep up and to get in front of new technologies, because it will be a real challenge to do so, and it will take new investments for the manufacturers and also for Kiwa in personnel, but also in equipment to keep in line with the new requirements. Yeah, that's what it is.
And do you have any important takeaways for manufacturers?
Be involved in standardization, I think, is a very good tip, because then you know what's going on. And follow this kind of webinars. Now, this is a personal thing, webinar, of course, but normally there are regular webinars about new technologies, new standards, and if you follow those, then you will be informed of what's coming up for you as a manufacturer and what you need to do, because there are more and more requirements. I just had a discussion yesterday together with Marcus. When he started his company, he said there were nearly no regulations and no standards. And now, if he wants to do something, he always needs to find out, is there a new regulation for this? And do I need the testing? Can I do the testing myself? Or do I need to consult a test laboratory or a notified body? So that is important for the manufacturers. And for us, it's important to see that we can help our customers to do this testing for them.
Yeah. So could another takeaway be also to get in contact with a laboratory early in the process of developing your product?
Yeah, what I say is also for this new requirements for the CPR, if you get involved from the start, it is much easier to keep up with the new requirements, because you are, let's say, learning in and from the beginning. So you are, let's say, developing your product together with the new requirements, and then it's much easier for you.
Yeah, I think we can come up with a lot of examples of products who did not make it to the market because they were not able to fulfill the requirements or needed a lot of extra money to adjust their product. So it could be a good advice to start soon with also the laboratory. And do you have any last advice to us, to the team, and to Kiwa maybe?
Yeah. Keep on doing the good job, and I hope Kiwa will be keeping investing in fire and safety and security to grow the business further. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Henry, the changes are getting bigger and bigger, but the biggest change today is that we are going to say farewell to you, and that we are coming to the end of this webinar and officially are going to say this. What do you think about this farewell moment?
Of course, it's a little bit sad, but on the other hand, it was a real good experience. For me, it was the first webinar, and hopefully I did a good job.
I think so. We did a good job.
I think it was enjoyable. And I really appreciated that you took this effort to do this for me. So really thank you again, Sabine.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, later today we have also a farewell moment with your family and some colleagues, and we have some stuff planned. But of course now we can't leave you empty-handed. So Henry, you are still an avid sailor and have always navigated us through calm and stormy weather with unwavering dedication. And therefore, we have these gifts for you, and they will be handed over by Jan Willem Verwoerd.
Oh, okay.
A familiar face for, I think, the viewers.
Yeah, for me, I want to thank you for all the work you have done for at first Televication and later on Kiwa FSNS products. With your sales experience, your knowledge of the market, you have moved our laboratory forward, and that's good, I think. I want to hand over you this captain hat.
Oh, thank you.
The captain hat has a purpose, but what the purpose is, you will find out later today.
Okay.
Enjoy your retirement.
Thanks.
And I enjoyed our stage with the customers.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Henry. Enjoy life. And as promised, you will receive all the information on the various topics in the newsletter. And also, you will find out what the meaning of this captain hat will be. So stay tuned and enjoy.